to the Lioness Method, the podcast where we chat with female entrepreneurs and business leaders who share their hottest tips for creating long-lasting success that you can implement today. And now, here's your host, Lynsey Sue, Master Integrated Breakthrough Coach.
Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Lynsey Sue, Leadership and Legacy Coach, and today we have the honor of chatting with Lynsey Treharne. And she and I met on Clubhouse, where I heard her moderating a fabulous room, and there was tons of people in there, and she was dropping so many gems about body confidence, health and wellness, and online strategy that I wanted to have her on today to share all of her wisdom with you ladies. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments as well, because we would love to hear from you while we are chatting here. So Lynsey is an online strategist, a health and wellness coach, and a 3-time business founder with a large audience within the health and wellness space. And she recently delved into the world of social media growth for business, primarily on Clubhouse, where we connected. And she's helped thousands of people over the last 8 years to become more body confident by prioritizing their health and well-being. And she has successfully amplified her impact through delivering 15-minute workouts on Clubhouse to a global audience and has created a health and wellness platform as a result of the success. So welcome, Lynsey. We're so excited to chat with you today.
Hi, it's quite an intro. I hope I live up to expectations. A pleasure to be here.
Yes. Well, I thought this was such an important topic because a lot of our listeners are busy women, entrepreneurs, and just leaders who have a hard time prioritizing themselves. You know, they might be busy moms or just busy in life. And so all of these topics that you're bringing your expertise on today are top of mind and much needed.
Yeah, it's definitely the world where we want to be able to be doing absolutely everything, and I feel like everyone runs out of time, including myself. So I tend to try and speak from problems that I genuinely suffer with myself, and as much as I love health and fitness, even I find time to prioritize it. So if it's not top of your priority list, I can completely understand how it gets pushed back, and before you know it, 1 week's gone by, 5 weeks have gone by, 12 months have gone by, and your routine's out of the window. So it just seems that our lives are busier than ever, especially since the pandemic. And I try and help as many different women as possible in their business and in their own health and mindset to make sure that they are prioritizing themselves as much as they prioritize their business, because it's easy to let one thing, let that seesaw not become balanced. And then, of course, you're weighted one way or the other. So, yeah, super excited to delve into this today.
I love that. Yes, I've heard that we quite frequently overestimate what we can accomplish in a year and way underestimate what we can accomplish. All right, that's actually backwards. We underestimate what we can accomplish in a year and overestimate what we can accomplish in a month. But I think I really believe that scheduling is so important, like scheduling all these wonderful things in so we can make it work.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, what challenges did you have to break through to become the dynamic coach you are today?
Pretty much every challenge under the sun. I mean, if I head back to pre-pandemic, I was very much an in-person personal trainer and my business was flourishing, and I didn't really plan ahead, which I think a lot of us can be quite guilty of, right? And I was pretty happy with everything the way it was going. I had goals that I wanted to strive towards, but I hadn't really been making enough steps. Like, it was kind of very much, I'll move online when I'm ready. I'll do it when I want, not when I had no clue, as did none of us, that we were going to have our doors shut on us and a pandemic unfold for 18 months to 2 years. So all of my ambitions with my business got excelled forward as I have to do this now because I don't have a plan B. My plan B is now plan A. So what I started to do was really get my existing audience, and fortunately for myself, I'd already been putting those structures in place. I already was very prominent on Instagram. I had an email list. I was very good at collecting client testimonials, and thank God I was, because I started pulling at all of those straws and making sure that I could build a brand new business online based on what I was already good at and an existing business, which was in the health and fitness industry. So Lynsey Suzanne Fitness, what it was an in-person business, and now it's all online. And I actually found myself not wanting to go back to what I knew before and wanted to propel forward with what I was doing. And then as I started becoming even better with working online, I realized there were all these businesses, men and women alike, that needed to do this in their business as well to make their business more bulletproof when it came to anything like this, at knocking them off. But also the whole world's changed the way we operate now. You know, we all are much more susceptible to doing things online that maybe before we would have preferred to do in person. Even our shopping habits have changed. So businesses now that maybe didn't see a need to be online pre-pandemic have to be online. They have to be competing online because there are other competitors in their market that are doing so. So now what I do is I help other people who are similar to myself, or potentially just that little bit more adverse to wanting to be online, get online by mirroring what I did. And also, since the pandemic, Clubhouse was born. You know, Clubhouse wasn't even an app pre-pandemic. And like everyone wants to be an early adopter and everyone wishes they jumped on Instagram back in the day before Instagram knew it was Instagram, I saw that as a golden opportunity to jump on a platform and go, this platform's going to work really well. And it's in the audio space, which I particularly enjoy. So yeah, I've kind of married the two together, and any idea that I've come up with now, I don't sit back on it because I just feel that I sat back on so many things pre-pandemic that I wish I'd done moving forward. So I would rather sit here and say to you, look, I regret doing that, than me sitting here saying I regret not doing that. So yeah, that's how I've now become ridiculously busy with 3 businesses, 2 of them in kind of year one of them is an old business, but it's changed dynamically how it looks and how it feels. So I'm very fortunate to be in that position, but it's taken a lot of hard graft and a lot of hard work. And if I can help anyone else streamline that and get them from A to B quicker, because I think I've done A to Z and back to A, then that would be super helpful.
I love that. No, and you just said so many wonderful things. I mean, just going back to the beginning of the pandemic, before people were really even aware what Clubhouse was, like Clubhouse was a lifesaver for a lot of people because it allowed people to continue to network, because it's really what that app is an online networking platform where you can literally, if you're not familiar with Clubhouse, Clubhouse.
That's a new one coming soon.
I know that's a new one coming soon. That Clubhouse is a platform where it's basically like an on access to online meetings or conferences. And the beautiful thing is like where are you in the UK?
I'm down south, so I'm trying to think where you might know, but yeah, right down south within the coastal area of the UK.
Okay.
But you're in America, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, and how fabulous that we connected on Clubhouse. Like, what other app that you know of that we were able to just get into conversation immediately? Because I was drawn to you because of your energy and the way that you were speaking, and we're able to connect. And I think that's so powerful. And that was one of the biggest things to come out of the pandemic was people reaching out through these social media things. But Clubhouse, I think all by itself is really special. And I love what you're saying about teaching people to pivot, because everybody, absolutely, like I have so many friends that had yoga businesses or meditation businesses or even breath work or just whatever business they were in, fitness instructors that, they were forced to jump online and now interact in this way. So what are some of the things that have really helped you kind of get ramped up in your process? Because it sounds like you were successfully able to transition from being a brick and mortar provider to moving everything on the online space.
Yeah, you touched on some really good points as well there with the fact that like Clubhouse it came about at the right time, and it was a lifesaver for a lot of people. It was a lifeline for myself. I was going through a divorce at the time, and I do live in the middle of nowhere. So for me, it was just that interaction and that human connection. And I do want to make it really clear that this has not been plain sailing whatsoever. There have been very many lows. In fact, like most days, I probably think I can't do this. I'm well up against this. But what I really like about Clubhouse is the support network that you get in there, as well as all of the value that you can pull out of that app, and the value that you get to give and the connections that you make. And so for me, I already knew quite a bit. I'm a reasonably astute person. I knew that I had to get an email list. And if you're listening to this and you don't have an email list and you think that your social media platforms are enough to draw in the clientele, you are more likely to convert by over 60% people that are already
I'm
in
all
your
ladies,
email
make
list.
sure you're writing this down. Get your pens out. She's about to drop some
Yeah,
gems. Here we go.
I'm dropping some bombs. You're so more likely to convert someone that's in your email list than you are on your social media platform. That's not to say jump off of social media and only go to your email list, but I think what happens is people get so fixated with the posts on Instagram or LinkedIn, wherever they prefer to hang out, they actually forget to nurture those people that have already bought from you or have already expressed an interest. So that for me was a huge learning curve. And the biggest thing that I wish I'd done a lot sooner is actually email automation. And if you're not familiar with automation, that's something where, yeah, you do have to spend a bit of time writing out like an email sequence based off the back of how someone's maybe gotten into your email connection. So for example, you might have a free lead generation kit. Maybe they come through off the back of a podcast, but really introducing yourself and nurturing those people that have already said, hey, I like you enough to give you my email address, and that's almost as golden as giving someone your mobile number these days. So do make sure that you're nurturing those people. And I
And
learned a
what's the
lot actually.
service? Sorry, I'll jump in there real
No,
quick
please
so I
jump
don't
in.
forget. What's the service that you enjoy working with that automates your emails?
So I personally prefer Active Campaign. I find it a really good system. I know that MailChimp and there's a couple of others that do offer the ability for you to tag and create automation sequences. But for me, I like the way that Active Campaign lay it out, and they have a growth strategy as well. So if you start off with less than 500 contacts, you can start off on a certain plan. And as you grow, the plans grow with you. So that's why I really like Active Campaign. So that was kind of like golden ticket number one. The next thing that I would say you have to be doing is getting reviews from your existing customers. And again, it's something I was very, very conscious of doing back when I was in person. So reviews on Google or video reviews and testimonials or recommendations on LinkedIn, they speak more volumes than anything else. Someone else selling your service is so much better than you selling your service. So utilize the people that you've got in your network already and get those testimonials and reviews hot off the press whilst they're enjoying whatever it is that you're doing, not 6 weeks after they finish something. You've got to be on them. You've got to be on it, and you've got to ask more than once. We're all
Yes.
super busy, right? And for example, you might say, Narissa, can you give me a review for the podcast that we've done today? And I'd absolutely love to, but you probably need to hassle me about 4 times. Do I mind you hassling me? No.
Yeah,
And
and
I
I
think
think
we get
also
into
you
our
have to
heads.
provide some type of framework of what you're looking for
Yes.
too, right? Because people want to share, but they maybe don't know what to say, right? So if you ask them a couple helpful
Exactly.
questions, that really helps a lot.
And always ask for it to be on video. And you can always say, I don't mind if it's written, but if you can do a video, even better, because actually it's quicker to do a video half the time than it is to sit there and type. And social media platforms love video now. So that's going to help push it out into the big wide world. So if you can get it on video, great, but take what you can get, because testimonials do speak absolute volumes. So those 2 things alone, I think, really helped pivot me when it came to trying to get new customers into my business. But then it was starting to put out value, and everyone listening will be an expert in their own right, in their own field, but making sure that you're speaking to people right at that basic entry level to which they're coming into your business. It's very easy when you're in your business to overcomplicate things, especially as coaches. We want to be giving the most detail. We want to be making sure that we're giving so much value that actually sometimes we make it more complicated. So go back to basics. What can someone learn from you that's quite straightforward for you to put out there, but gets that know, like, and trust factor? And I know we worry about putting free content out there, but actually people don't have skin in the game, so they won't technically follow that advice, but they will learn from you enough to go, she knows what she's talking about. I want to work with her. I want to put skin in the game. I want to pay that person. So don't be afraid of putting out free content. I think a lot of people, and I hear this a lot on Clubhouse, I don't know if you do as well, Narissa, but where people are like, oh, I don't want to tell everyone my top secrets. Actually,
No,
someone
I
else's.
think I've learned that the opposite, that you got to give away some of your best stuff in the
Yeah.
front, and so you can build that relationship, and so that you're really truly serving. Because I really feel like the most successful people that I've even interviewed on the show that are making multi-million dollars and have grown several businesses, they are always about give, right? And when you're coming from a place of heart-centered leadership and you're really giving from a true place of wanting to see people be successful and thrive, then people are naturally drawn to that because they know that you're the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I cannot stress this enough. People do not buy products, they buy from people. So the more you're giving, the more someone can see how authentic you are or hear. And this is why I think Clubhouse has done so well, because if people can hear the authenticity in your voice, and they
And
can
it's not
tell that
about
you're
looks,
genuine.
right? It's not about
No,
looks.
no.
And
And
there's
that's
something
actually,
rich about hearing somebody's
yeah.
voice, very real, right?
100%, especially when someone's taking their time with you as well, because we can all put out a video, we can all put out a written blog post, but when someone actually spends time way beyond the amount of time that they would expect. So, you might catch me at the end of a Clubhouse room where I've already said I'm going to wrap that room up, but you might ask a question. I thought, do you know what? I will spend the extra 10 minutes talking to Narissa about this because she's asked me a question and I know the answer. And people appreciate your time. They appreciate that connection rather than, okay, yeah, that was a valuable blog, but that wasn't written for me, that was written for the masses. So actually just spending time connecting with just one person, but other people can hear you doing that speaks volumes.
I love that. And that there's so many nuances with moderating Clubhouse rooms too. And I know that it's just that. It's like serving the people, right? Making sure that everybody's questions get answered and that there's more than one voice that's contributing. And that people actually feel heard, seen, well, not seen so much because it's a voice, right? But
I know
felt,
what you
right?
mean though.
They're heard and yeah, and I guess they're seen in the room because we all have our little icons, avatars in the room, right? But yeah, I think that's a big part of it for sure. Well,
And I
amazing.
think you've hit the nail on the head there in terms of moderating. Sorry to jump in very quickly, but
No,
I think
please
a lot
do.
of people think, well, how's holding a room, holding a space? That's not difficult. And actually, it's more difficult than you
It's
think. And I've
very
seen some.
difficult.
Yeah, I've seen it done very, very poorly, especially if you are someone, this sounds crazy, but like likes the sound of their own voice and that doesn't actually appreciate that there are other people giving up their time in those rooms as well. So, it's about creating a space, not just for the audience, but for the other people that are supporting you and your rooms. I'm thinking anyone that's not on Clubhouse right now is probably thinking, what are they talking about? So do make sure that you go and check it out. But yeah, Clubhouse is very much about collaboration, and you will get far very quickly if you collaborate very well and you share the space. One thing that I watch a lot of people do is think that they can do Clubhouse on their own, not collaborate, and actually they fall down very, very sharply because it's not an app where you go in and you make quick hits and then you make a lot of money and you jump off. It's actually about that longevity process and forging relationships, not with people that are necessarily going to line your pocket, but that are actually going to help value they're going to add value to your room, but they're also going to enrich you as well. And you learn a lot from them too. Amount of rooms that I run and I'm sat there going, let me get my notepad. I'm learning here too, which is another reason why I love it so much, because it's almost like being at a live conference or a live webinar that people pay hundreds to go to with experts giving advice. And I'm like, this is golden. This is great. And I've given people the space to share that information. So there's a lot that you can take away from Clubhouse that, any other app, you touched on it earlier on, Narissa, where you said, I don't know any other app which forges relationships and connections so quickly. And I haven't been on Instagram for 10 years.
Like we
Yeah.
have the opportunity to connect right now because of Clubhouse, and you're on the other side of the world. Like, I just think that's amazing.
No, I completely agree. And it's brilliant, isn't it? What better way to try and grow a business online when you can connect with people across the globe who then know about your brand. And I know a lot of brands that have broken into, for example, UK brands that have broken into America and Australia because they are spending time with people in those countries that would never have come across them if Clubhouse hadn't have been around.
100%. And then all the experts, like I'm just floored sometimes. Like, I mean, I don't know if you were in some of the chats with Elon Musk, but Like we have the opportunity to listen to Elon Musk, like speak directly and answer questions. And then people like John Asseroff and I mean, Myron Goldberg. I mean, there's so many different people, celebrities, and they're having all different types of conversations. So yes, if you're not on Clubhouse, then you're late. Make sure you download it today and come and find Lynsey and I on Clubhouse. Yes. Well, amazing. Well, thank you for dropping those gems and for sharing. And yes, ladies, come on Clubhouse and join in on the conversation. And again, it's all about being in a place of service. So I would love to ask you, kind of shifting gears a little bit, about what you're working on personally right now that allows you to serve your clients in bigger and better ways.
Yeah, do you know what, it's been a challenge actually, working on my personal goals whilst having quite a lot of changes in my business, because I think my personal life has changed a lot since the pandemic. I think I mentioned earlier on, I was in the middle of a divorce right at the start of the pandemic. I had actually very recently just moved to a very remote part of where I live. So I'm not local to anyone that I used to know, and then suddenly doors shut, pandemic. And so for me, I'm trying to make sure that I haven't become an introvert so much. I'm quite an extrovert, really. I really enjoy socializing. And I think, like all of us, we can get stuck in that rut of being really locked into our businesses and locked into what it is that we're doing. And before you know it, the day's gone. So for me, I'm very much prioritizing making sure I take time out for myself, which is crazy as a health and wellness coach, because I love working out, and I have a gym in the house. I'm very, very fortunate, but actually I'm forcing myself out now to make sure that I'm socializing with other people, even when I'm working out. You won't like this being in America, but I jump in the cold sea most days of the week just to try and
That's
get
amazing.
that
I love that.
It's cold.
Have you studied any of Wim Hof's? Have you heard of Wim Hof?
Yeah, so Wim Hof. I don't like cold showers. There's something about it hitting your head before. I like to work up rather than go down the other way. But Wim Hof's Breathwork. Anyone that hasn't read the book Breath by James Nestor, or had a look at what Wim Hof does, anyone that suffers with any kind of anxiety or stress, or you just find that maybe you struggle with sleep and you're 100 miles an hour, which I think a lot of us have kind of become accustomed to doing. We almost run on adrenaline. Breathwork is an incredible way to just take a breath, no pun intended, but just control yourself. And actually, when I work on, if I do, say, like a 20-30 minute breathwork class, which I don't do too often, but I am walloped that afternoon. Like, it completely wipes me out. However, I have more productivity the next day than if I hadn't have done it at all. And can you still hear me okay? My AirPod went a bit funny then. But yeah, that for me is so paramount, and I really have to focus on that when I find myself kind of almost getting a bit like imposter syndrome, or just running away, that I will work and can't see the wood from the trees. I definitely have to take a step back. I go back to my breath work. I dive in the sea. I love mountain climbing, rock climbing, and I just take that time out for me, which I think a lot of us have stopped doing since we did this whole lockdown thing.
You are speaking my language, girl, because I am actually I'm a breathwork facilitator, and part of what I do with my clients is get diving deep into that breathwork practice. Because if you have a regular practice and you do it at least once a week, I mean, it is a game changer, especially as women, like I went through a divorce as well. And just being a single mom, like having all of the balls up in the air, you're like, right. And it's pressure, it's anxiety, it's depression, and it's just a buildup of emotion in your body. So that's my jam. I love that you brought that up. That's amazing.
Well, I didn't know that, so I'm glad I brought it up, because this is what I love about meeting people on Clubhouse. And you never know, it's a bit like Clubhouse, right? You never know what way a direction is going to go with the conversation in a room. And then you find out something new. I shared stages with people for like 20, 30 rooms, and then I find something new out about them because the topic of conversation is just directed that way. So that's awesome. And yeah, breath work, it's been a massive game changer, especially with anxiety. So yeah, I love that.
I love that. Well, what books or speakers have changed your life? I am as you can see, I have a giant bookshelf behind me. I'm all about reading. And so what has it been for you?
Well, that's a wild question off the top of my head. So I'll tell you what, one book that I found was amazing was Atomic Habits, and then the person who's written it has escaped my brain right now. So please just look up Atomic Habits, because it's all about looking at habits that you do on a daily basis and not just installing new habits, but actually removing old habits. Because a lot of us, we always think, okay, what else can I do that's new? But we don't look at our behaviors and our patterns of what we're doing that is causing us to go round in circles. So Atomic Habits was a fantastic read. It's not even a big book. It's quite a small book, but it's a really good read that gives you kind of step-by-step things that you should be in as well. And they're the type of books that I really, really like.
And it looks like Atomic Habits is by James Clear. Just for you ladies, in case you wanted to write that down.
I just mentioned, yeah, James Clear is great. And Breath by James Nestor, which I know I mentioned earlier, but another great read. And that's just sort of touching on a previous one. And Chimp Paradox is another fantastic book, which helps talk about the 4 chambers of your brain and how we react. So if you're someone that does get a little bit hot-headed and perhaps you react and then you think later on, shit, I really wish I hadn't reacted like that. It helps you kind of control your inner chimp. I mean, sure, we've all been there before with road rage, right? You know.
Oh my gosh, your inner chimp. I love that.
Yeah, and it's really, really good about just teaching you how to kind of take a step back and not react in the way that maybe you kind of really wish you didn't. So that's another great book, and it's another great read, which just takes us right back down to basics, really, and start thinking about our human behavior. Sapiens, and it's a very difficult read. It's a very difficult read, I think, but it's a great read because it takes us right back to our origin and talks about, where we've come from as individuals and as humans. So I love books like that, books where I can start thinking about, okay, why do I act this way? And how can I take a few steps back to act in a different way? So those sorts of personal development books really, really, they're my vibe. But I tend to audiobook everything. I don't know if you're the same, but just because I can get it done quicker. But since Clubhouse has come about, the amount of books I get through is a lot slower because I'm constantly in rooms listening to people talk. But it's very similar to listening to an audiobook, because a lot of the time, and this is another reason why I really like the 15-minute, the name's gone out of my head again, but the 15-minute synopsis app, Blinkist.
Blinkist is a game changer. That's great.
Yeah, isn't it? And if you haven't heard of Blinkist, basically it gives you a 15-minute kind of synopsis of a book, and so you get a real good understanding of what the book's about, but also if it's going to be for you or not, so you don't spend time reading a book that's not necessarily for you. So Blinkist is amazing too. But yeah,
and then you can always buy the book if you like the book, if you like the synopsis. Yeah. There's also another guy, Joseph Rodriguez, on YouTube. He does these free 15-minute synopsis, but he's so well read that he actually brings in all the themes from other books, and he can tell you kind of how they relate, how they fit together. So I also love that free resource.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely check out one of those too, and I'll be checking out. Was it Joe Rodriguez, did you say?
Joseph Rodriguez. Yes, Joseph. He has a free YouTube channel, and he basically reads all the best self-development books that you could think of, and he's just a great reviewer. He does mind mapping, so you can actually download some of his mind maps. It's pretty interesting.
Love this. Right, so I'm writing that down.
That's what it's all about. We're just sharing the resources.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I want to be really mindful of your time today. So I have one more question. And that's really just what's next for you. I know that you have 3 businesses going. You're really active on Clubhouse, and then you're also still working in wellness, health and wellness. So what's next?
Well, I do have a 4th business on the horizon, but that's not a lot I can talk about right now, because there's a few dots and T's that haven't been dotted, and I's and T's that haven't been dotted and crossed. But I have just been recently recognized as a Clubhouse top creator, and so
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So I've been in connection with a lot of the Clubhouse team, And of course, they're rolling out new features left, right, and center. So for me at the moment, I'm really knuckling down for the new year to be pretty busy when it comes to Clubhouse strategy clients, because I do think that a lot of businesses have gotten back into their flow this final quarter of the year, and they're going to be looking at new ways to drive their business forward. And I do think that over the Christmas break, a lot of people are going to be exploring Clubhouse, have a little think about how they can possibly fit it in. So I do expect to see a surge in increase in users in January, darker months as well, winter months. And so I think from a strategy point of view, more businesses than ever are going to start taking Clubhouse more seriously because of the pinned links feature, because of the replays. So it gives businesses and sponsorships and brands another opportunity.
Oh, there's
to jump
replays on Clubhouse now? I did not hear about that. Wow.
Well, so I was very fortunate to be testing them for Clubhouse last week and the week previous, and they actually launched them out to the masses on Monday evening. It was Monday evening here. It would probably have been early doors for you guys. And basically that now means that you can record the entire room, and you can, as a host, can download that recording as well and repurpose it elsewhere. So we could.
Wow, that is a game changer.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
So that's the pinned link as well is a huge game changer, especially if you're a brand that's wanting to see what kind of traction you get off of a Clubhouse room, or try and get that call to action. And the most awesome thing is with the replays, the links still work. So anyone watching the room 7 days later, 10 days later, can still click through to those links. So it's another way to get more people. Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome. And I think it's just a tip of the iceberg. They are rolling out features thick and fast for the creator. So for me, I'm very excited for next year, but I think Clubhouse are going to keep me very busy.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like it. And I'm excited because honestly, until you just shared that, I had no idea about all of these incredible updates, because what a platform it's grown into. I mean, it's changed so much since I first started engaging with it a year ago. And I felt like I was late to the party because there was already big conversations happening when I came in. But I guess it's never too late to start, right? So for the lady who's listening who hasn't gotten on Clubhouse yet, just do it now. Do it now. Jump in. Lynsey's given us all these great insider tips about the new features that are coming out. So thank you for sharing all that. Well, Lynsey, where can they find you? Where's the best place for them to reach out to you to find out more about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty omnipresent. So if you're an Instagram user, you can jump over to my Instagram, which is Lynsey Suzanne _. On LinkedIn, I'm Lynsey Suzanne Treharne, as you can see written here. Clubhouse, I'm Lynsey Treharne. So again, you can find me on Clubhouse. But if you were to Google Lynsey Suzanne, it's pretty much me that comes up. So you'll find me on all those sorts of platforms, dependent on what it is that you want from me. If you want fitness stuff, more Instagram, Clubhouse, more LinkedIn.
Fabulous. And mentioning the fitness stuff, ladies, if we would like to invite you right now, if you're watching live, to join us backstage in the VIP Facebook group, the Lioness Entrepreneurs and Business Leaders Uncaged, for a quick training with Lynsey, where she's going to chat a little bit about body confidence, because I know that's something that we put in our headline today. And she just shared a wealth of knowledge about social media and online strategy. So we're going to pivot a little bit and give you some insider secrets. So come join us over there. And again, that's Lioness Entrepreneurs and Business Leaders Uncaged for more juicy content. So we're going to say bye for now. Thank you again so much for joining us if you have listened all the way to the end. And until next time, live in gratitude and be light. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Have you signed up for this week's virtual Breathwork Circle? Come, breathe, make space for all the abundance and prosperity you are calling in. Breathewithriss.com.